I do not know if you've heard this, but UPS, which is a huge, huge business in this country, UPS workers are also considering going on strike by the end of this month. Check this out. This is going to be huge, you guys. You know how many businesses rely on UPS?
UPS drivers could go on strike in August after its union says a new contract did not meet its demands. Meanwhile, you might have to pay a little.
Okay, and then she gets into the food thing. Sorry, I think I got the shorter version instead of the longer one. But here's the article, and let's get into this. UPS strike update. Teamsters and UPS closer to a deal, but the strike is not off the table. So this was released July 3rd, which was yesterday. There are some people saying that the strike is not going to happen, but according to UPS in Rome, my comrade from RBN has spoken to the UPS workers, that strike is not off the table. They could still go on strike. Listen to this. UPS Teamsters just practicing for a just contract. So here's a picture here. UPS and its worker union are closer to reaching a deal that could improve conditions for more than 340,000 employees nationally. Over the weekend, the Teamsters union announced it has reached a tentative agreement with the company on 3 major economic issues, a final piece in what the union has called the largest collective bargaining agreement in North America. But union leaders warned a strike isn't yet off the table as both parties make a final push to reach a full agreement on a new 4-year contract by July 5th. Now, that's tomorrow. So I'll be watching for the news, the update about this tomorrow. I have a feeling they're probably not going to reach a full agreement tomorrow. The labor contract between UPS and Teamsters will expire at midnight, July 31st, if an agreement is not reached between the two sides. In June, the Teamsters passed a strike action vote with 97% approval, which would allow the Teamsters to strike if they deem it necessary. Here's what to know. What happened with UPS Teamsters over the weekend? So this was actually a conference that they had, contract campaign update press conference, with the current contract expiring on July 31st. And here we go here. Let me see if I can just pull it. We won't be able to play the whole thing, but I do want to get into some of this. Waiting for him to come to the mic. Sorry.
Business. We represent 340,000 members. Majority of them are part-timers that go to work every single day, move boxes, load those trucks, so truck drivers and feeder drivers can provide goods and services to this country. We want to let the general public know that we are at a crossroads right now with UPS. We're at a crossroads because through the toughest times that we've seen during the pandemic, the one thing that was constant was our Teamsters going to work every single day, making certain that supply chain kept flowing through this country. We had part-timers going to work in these warehouses with total disregard for themselves and their families, putting themselves at risk, putting their families at risk. We had members that died because they went to work to provide these services to the general public. And we want to make certain that UPS rewards not only the part-timers, but also the full-timers and everybody that works as a Teamster at United Parcel Service. As a result of the pandemic, their profits doubled. They weighed $100 billion last year. $100 billion. And now it's time for UPS to reward the people that have made them the success they are. That is our 340 rank and file members.
So again, this is another example where, again, The people at the very top of these companies were making bank. They made a profit. Remember, one of the things that we've mentioned before on the show was that during the pandemic, CEOs, their wealth doubled during the pandemic, while the workers actually had to struggle and suffer. So here we are again, another different company. They're not the hotel employees that we talked about earlier, but still a similar situation to where they are being exploited. One of the things I want to mention to you in reference to UPS, this is something I didn't realize for a long time. Did you guys know that those trucks are not air conditioning? You know, the number of times I used to see, especially when I lived down south, UPS workers driving on those trucks in 100-degree heat, 103-degree heat, and there's no AC. None of that. Those are just the truck drivers. Those aren't the people that are working in the warehouse. Remember, there's people in different positions. Not everyone drives the truck. Let's go on.
We are in contract negotiations. Our contract is set to expire on July 31st, and our administration has made it clear we will not be working beyond the expiration date without the contract that our members have demanded, but more importantly, the contract that our members deserve. Now, I want to give an update. Historically, the Teamsters Union would go into negotiations 1 year prior to the expiration date, and that's happened over the last 4 cycles. That didn't work well for our members. So we decided a different strategy. We put a deadline on these negotiations. We started negotiations supplementally, where there's 44 supplements on top of the national agreement. And we told UPS that we would not go to the national table unless all 44 supplements were completed. We were able to complete 42 of those supplements. We held up negotiations nationally for another week and a half, and then we got permission from the other 2 supplements who were confident they were going to get it done, and they got it done, to go to the table and demand what our members want. We've been in bargaining since May nationally. We've made progress on 54 changes within this contract. And I want to remind the general public, I want to remind the politicians, and I want to remind the media, this is the largest collective bargaining agreement in any private sector union.
Notice how he also mentioned the politicians and the media. Let's go on a little bit more.
We have the opportunity, because of the courage and conviction of our rank and file members that go to work every single day, to set the tone and set the standard high for labor, not just the Teamsters, but the entire labor movement. So we've been in negotiations, and we've gotten some changes. We've gotten some changes that are better our members' lives, but more importantly, take care of their families. But we're not there yet. And we're not there yet because UPS, typically like UPS, thinks that the Teamsters Union are going to concede to their demands. I'm proud to say every change that has been made right now has 0 concessions and all gains for our members. And we're going to continue that right through till July 5th. This past week, UPS wasn't moving quick enough. They weren't moving quick enough, so we put a demand. We demanded a last best final offer. And that last best final offer usually is taken to our membership for a vote. UPS came back to the table, knowing we were serious, made some movement, so we made a commitment to resume negotiations. And we are at a point right now where we have the opportunity to do 2 things. And UPS, ball is in their court. We have to come to an agreement by July 5th in order to get that thing ratified by the expiration date. And we've been clear again, and I know UPS is watching, they're probably hiding in the trees. But we are clear, without a ratified contract, meaning subject to the approval of our 340,000 members, we will not be working. So
Everybody heard that? So even though they came to the bargaining table with some sort of an agreement, he's here to let you know if they don't get their full needs met, come July 31st, they will still go ahead and strike. And that will be huge because so many companies use UPS. It's not just people like you and me, but a lot of businesses count on UPS. And they count on like them the same way they count on FedEx. UPS doesn't just deliver, packages of like just gifts or goods or things like that. UPS used to come to my former employer, and they used to deliver like scientific materials. that professors needed for the labs. They would deliver those types of goods. They would deliver like things that you could not get through the US Postal Service. So UPS is important and you do need them. And hopefully the powers that be will understand that and will give them what they're asking for. Otherwise, this is going to affect so many different industries: restaurant industry, hotel industry, the retail industry. Universities are going to be affected by this. Like, this is huge.
UPS has two choices to make. They can either go down one road where they want to reward our members who have made them the success they are today, concede to our demands and give us what we deserve, and we will go out there and ratify this agreement. Or they can take the other road where they don't concede to our demands. They stay loyal to Wall Street and forget about Main Street. And if they do that, they are making a choice to strike themselves, where we will put 340,000 strong Teamsters on the streets till we get what we want, and then UPS will be responsible for stopping supply chain solution through this company.
This can seriously disrupt the supply chain. Now, another story I didn't get a chance to get into today, but maybe I'll be able to talk about it a little bit on Thursday. Apparently, some of the Canadian port workers are also going on strike. So this is huge. When we talk about supply chain, I mentioned the railroad workers, right? I mentioned the port workers. I mentioned the truckers, but then there's also UPS. If UPS goes on strike, I am curious to see if the Biden administration will step in again the same way that they did with the railroad workers. Curious to see if that will happen.
But you know, UPS has a choice. The first road, they can be the model of what it means to be a good employer, what it means to reward the people that have made them a success. You know, UPS is putting out some propaganda that the average UPS driver makes $93,000 per year and $50,000 in benefits. And that is true. That is only true because they have to bargain with us. But they don't tell you the other story where the majority of their employees are part-timers, single mothers, single parents, working 4 in the morning till 8 in the morning in awful conditions for awful wages. We have part-timers throughout this country that are on food stamps, that are on subsidized housing. Some are homeless. This day and age, when we have companies as profitable, they need to reward their people, and we are not going to stop till we get the contract that we deserve for our 340,000 members. And
go ahead, and if you have not done so, go ahead and hit that like button, guys, because he is telling it like it is. He is telling it out like it is. Hit that like button. That helps me out with the algo. But he is definitely like giving fire here, because this is something that needs to be said, because I think people have a lot of misunderstanding about UPS. Again, not everyone that works at UPS drives on that truck. Not everyone is full time. There are some people that work there that are making like $90,000 a year. But I like the fact that he mentioned that there are part-time workers working at UPS, some who are single parents, and they're not getting those types of benefits or pay. And that's important for people to understand. So I thank him so much for saying that part.
we're going to use this contract to help change the lives of people that are in this industry, non-union, just like Amazon workers right now. Go to work unprotected, no benefits, no wage increases, no path to a full-time career. We're going to take this contract and say, this is what you're going to get when you join the Teamsters Union. So I'm very proud of the work we've done, but we're not done yet. And UPS has less than 84 hours to get this deal done, or less than 84 hours to feel the wrath of the biggest, most powerful organization, and that is the International Brotherhood of Teamsters.
He said, feel the wrath. I love it. I love it.
Up for questions. Fair. They know that we're not playing around. They know that we have tremendous unity and support throughout this country. Look, the general public loves their UPS drivers, loves their UPS employees. So the last thing they want is a blemish on their reputation. But most importantly, what we want to leverage our power, we want to leverage their profits, and we want our people rewarded. So UPS decided, instead of giving us the last and final, to come to the table, move on their proposal, and they made some movement, but it's not enough. It is not enough. We will determine when it's enough.
Boom. Just like that, he said, we will determine when it's enough. Now, Roger, I'm going to have to read your super chat because StreamYard is not showing me new comments. So I just have to look on the other one on here on Twitter. Okay, Roger Meadows said, revoke corporate charter, reissue co-op charter, Rockfin message. Okay, I'll go over there as well. Thank you so much for that super chat, Roger. Yeah, for some reason, StreamYard isn't showing me new messages, so I have another window open so I can see the messages on YouTube. But yeah, so now that's happening, but get this, and I want people to see this because Rome made this announcement, and I think this will be awesome. Rome is my comrade from RBN. He said July 31st, Revolutionary Blackout Network will be on the ground with the UPS workers as they walk off their trucks and go on the biggest strike the U.S. has seen so far. So this is going to be huge. I know Rome, we talked to him about this the other day. He said that he really is going to, wants to be there when that happens. He's already talked to workers at UPS. So it is what it is. But yes, he is going to do what he can to make sure that one of us is there on the ground to get that coverage. Because again, if this happens, this strike is going to be huge. I'm telling you guys, this is so much. This means so much. So shout out there to Rome, and we'll keep following the story with the UPS workers. Again, I consider this to be a good thing because I love when workers stand up to power. I really do. They stand up and fight back.